Welcome to Conversations with Masesi, where my guest and I talk everything life, family, love, community, and everything in between. Dr. Lekota, welcome back.
Thank you.
In a hospital setting, you often meet patients at their most vulnerable state. Sometimes for just one critical encounter. We talked about how you build trust. But you build trust with this person, but you have to go home because somebody else needs to take over. How do you do the transition to the next doctor when they've trusted you?
Yeah, and this is the thing where you will love family medicine, because then you are able to build a relationship with a patient over the years. You can see their children grow from when they were small babies and until they are adults. So there is that trust, and in hospital medicine, you just cannot have that. So that is one of the challenges. And but when I'm done my shift and I had developed the trust with the patient over the short period of time, even though most of the time, remember that in hospital, the patients that you see and talk to, many of them are too sick to even recognize their surrounding or people around them. But the handover to the next patient, it's so critical. It's so critical, and that is also important even for continuity of care and avoidance of mistakes and things falling through the cracks. So that is why it's so critical, especially when you have a complex patient that you are looking after overnight. In the morning, I have to make sure that the person that is coming to take over, they truly understand the fullness and the scope of this patient's illness. And if I've experienced certain things like anxieties and or maybe even unrealistic expectations from the family or from the patient themselves, I have to address that with the patient that is coming on,
like so the next doctor coming on,
so that we are on par in the information that we give to the patient. You don't want to say to the patient that you know what, I think with your condition and age and all other multiple comorbidities that you're dealing with, we don't think that taking you to ICU and intubating you would be a good option. And then the next doctor comes simply saying that, you know what, we need to take you to ICU right now. So that communication, it's very important.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's a matter of life and death.
Absolutely.
But you take care of everybody, you're transitioning so smoothly. How do you take care of yourself as a doctor?
That's a very good question.
You work long hours?
Absolutely. My night shifts are like 15 hours. I start at 5 and I finish the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning. And some of the shifts are just brutal.
Of course.
And we do see this happening a lot. Doctors getting burnout and not coping. Yeah. And we are grateful. We've got good support structures such as your Saskatchewan Medical Association here that can support a doctor when you feel like you're not coping. But for me, my biggest reset really is to ensure that I get good and proper sleep. And I've been in Canada for 15 years now, and I was all alone all these years. So luckily I didn't have children I don't know if I should say luckily or not, I didn't have children to take to daycare.
That's true.
To swimming classes, to skiing classes.
Not yet, they're coming.
Not yet, exactly. They're coming soon. So luckily I could maximize in terms of relaxing, sleeping, and just doing the things that I love. Most of my colleagues, they don't have that.
That privilege,
With family life comes so many other responsibilities.
So if you could give one advice to somebody entering into the medical field, let's say some young person say, I want to be a doctor.
Right.
Realistically, so it's not only about studying. What else?
Yeah, I would definitely say to them, balance your compassion for your patient. You have to strike a good balance between your compassion and becoming too involved emotionally.
Ooh.
As a doctor, it's very important that you are compassionate.
Yes.
But if you're not careful and you're consumed with every emotional thing that happens, and honestly, you're going to have bad things happen.
That's true.
You're going to lose some young, healthy patients who come in and you just cannot save.
That's true.
And if you're not careful and you let that weigh in so much on your heart, you can end up being on the downside yourself.
You can end up being the patient.
Exactly. It's very important that you strike that balance of compassion and making sure that you're not becoming personally, emotionally vested in every single case and patient that you encounter, especially those that don't have good outcome.
That's true. And I think young people think I have to be smart, I have to be good at math and everything else, but it's more than that.
It's more than
You're
that.
giving your whole being into this profession.
Absolutely.
So you need to strike the balance.
Absolutely.
There's somebody who explained something to me very interestingly and said, your reason of being has to be what you're passionate about, the mission that you're fulfilling. Then you get into the profession that you love. It becomes a vocation because you get paid for it, and the cycle goes on, and you are fulfilled as a human being.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm hearing you saying, that it's not about what's in your head. Your heart gets involved. Your body gets involved.
Absolutely.
You know, with hospitals, there's always myths that goes around that tell you, oh, we have a full moon and this is happening. What's the one myth you want to debunk today?
You know, the full moon myth, for example, is the worst in Canada. It's the worst.
Is it the first time you encountered it when you were here?
Honestly, yes.
Really?
Mind you, I didn't spend a lot of time in South Africa
though. That's
right?
True. Yeah.
Only 3 years, and even then it was 2 years of internship and 1 year of community service. But yes, the full moon myth is absolutely real. And the other one is that when the shift is going well and it's quiet, you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to say that the night is going well or it's quiet, because you're going to jinx it. And the moment you say that, hell is going to break loose.
Have you experienced that though?
No.
Because as much as I believe in the power of the tongue, so that's why I want to know if somebody said it and it happened, then I'll be like, there is truth into that.
Listen, you will always have that one time when coincidentally you say something and then indeed hell breaks loose, and you might carry that with you for the rest of your life as a reality. But no, there's absolutely no relationship between that. So I say it freely, but then you'll get a nurse slapping you on your shoulder to say, don't say that. We're having
a good day
like
today.
They would rather use, they would even say, use another adjective.
Yeah, not this
but
one.
don't say quiet.
Okay.
Because the moment you say quiet, it's gonna go crazy here. So and I've worked in so many rural hospitals all across rural Saskatchewan and even in the city here. It's all the same.
Wow.
It's all the same. And the myth somehow that is, I don't even know if I should call it a myth or what, but like patients have this belief that if you rock up in the hospital in an ambulance, you get attended to quicker. They don't realize that whoever arrives there, the nurse has to assess them to determine the level of your seriousness or your acuity.
Before you get to the doctor.
So you know what? I have had people leaving the hospital because they felt they were waiting in ER. They would leave because they felt they were not being attended to quickly. They get home and then they call an ambulance.
Ooh.
I've had that happen. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
And they don't realize
and
that
we can't do that.
And we can't do that.
We can't do that.
But I've seen it happen here.
And you're using resources that somebody who's highly in need of won't get them because of you.
Absolutely.
You just told us that you work 15-hour shift, right? And my question to you, because you work those long hours, So I want to know, what's your favorite room at the hospital other than the patient's room?
Yeah. So because you anticipate, you know that you are in for a long stretch, and you cannot anticipate or predict what that 15 hours is going to look like.
Yeah.
So you always want to make sure that you get the maximum rest that you can.
Yeah.
So as soon as most of us, we've got a room where we sleep.
Yeah.
Most of us, as soon as we get to the hospital, we head straight there, and we get as much rest as we can in preparation for what might be coming.
Okay, I like that. As Atul Gawande said, cure sometimes, treat often, comfort always. Your work, Dr. Lekota, embodies that. Thanks for sharing your wisdom today. That's a wrap for today. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms to keep the conversation going. Thank you for joining us on Conversations. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you and yours. Shalom.